ready for battle. Five, four, three, two, one. Attackers incoming.
Power! The payload
Got some fantasy Sigma play.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
What is this power?
Escort.
The payload advances.
I probably wouldn't have let my shield break so early on like that. I would kind of just place it early, just so that in case I had a sniper, you didn't just get one shot. And then I would have just dropped it down. You can just kind of poke and use the payload for cover. Especially because you're going up against a Bastion, you definitely don't want to have no shield.
Payload in motion.
As far as your crosshair
stays in
placement,
motion.
at the moment you're aiming on the person. With Sigma, you kind of want to aim a little above them. Because the shots actually go just an inch below where he's looking at. I'd probably put a barrier. Try to get this the right way. But about top right, there's like a Bastion up there. I definitely put the barrier up there. It's a good ult. You definitely want to be trying to make sure you're blocking their DPS from getting a whole lot of value. So far, Soldier's gotten like 2 or 3 picks because he's kind of been running around uncontested. You should definitely be focusing on making sure that he's not getting any value.
Crumble!
Right there, that was
Barrier initialized. Return to me.
No one can hide from my sight.
so far not bad though.
Payload has reached
What's today? From Overwatch.
The payload moves towards its predicted outcome. Come on. Cosmically insignificant. Actuating the barrier.
So you're doing it here, which is fine. Kinda, the big thing that'll counter Ramatra's ult here is breaking LOS. You can also do that with your shield. His ult doesn't go through shields. So if you break his LOS, all you have to do is run away from him for 3 seconds, and that big aura will go away.
Nice work, team. Keep it moving.
What is this power?
That was a really good transpire send. You're kind of letting your shield die. The second you walked away and you wasn't shooting in that area, I would have dropped my shield so that you can have it right here. Because you could have kind of helped your supports with that Reaper ult maybe, or had a shield to defend yourself here, but just kind of left it for too long.
Time for game. Let's move this thing.
Flux is upon us.
Over you.
Collapsing the barrier.
Definitely right now, since you have a lot of ultimates coming up, I would definitely be looking for ways to use your ultimate. Another thing to keep in mind is they also have a lot of ultimates, and you being the tank, you have to kind of find ways to negate it, because right there Cass got 2. Saving abilities for ultimates, Cass, he'll get stunned out of his ult with your rock, so try to think about what the enemy team has before you go into a fight. Always, ult tracking you'll definitely get the hang of the more you play, but usually it's people have their ults about every other fight. It also, obviously, you can tell it depends on how much damage they've been doing, how active they are, how long the fights are lasting, all those things go into account. But generally a rule of thumb is every other fight they'll have their ultimate. Try to figure out who has their ultimate here. You figure out how to counter it. Castle, you want to put a shield up, or throw a rock at him. The shield will buy you a second of time, whereas the rock will just stun him out. Your suck can also, all 3 of your abilities can do something. Your suck will definitely save you or anyone directly behind you. So don't ult him. Ult to casting, or if you ult to Cassidy that's ulting, you have problems. Bap ult, which they have right now. Good way to counter that, put your shield just behind it, because they can't shoot through the shield and get the amplification if you're blocking just past it. So don't put it directly in front of it. Your shield's gonna, if you mess up, you mess up, but your shield will just get obliterated. So definitely shield in general, but try to get at the side that they're going to be shooting through. Not a whole lot you can do about Ana's ult, just try to counter whoever she uses. Right now, since you did lose 2, you got the res off, I would definitely be trying to look for ways to sustain this fight. try to regroup, really.
Barrier unsuccessful. You need to think. I will speak to you in the language you understand.
Definitely not letting your shield charge. It's kind of still 1 HP because you haven't brought it back. So it's a really big thing. If you're not using your shield, just bring it back. Because it's still in the middle of nowhere.
Actuating the barrier.
A cure for all the tales.
Try to push forward here. Make sure they can't get like that positioning right there for free. Just try to do that earlier on rather than waiting. Once you clear out a fight, just try to take as much space as you can.
Together.
Because the pushing up, I wish I knew how to float around like a little ball. I know you can do it. I just don't know why I don't know how to. Oh well, but pushing up earlier on you would generally poke them out, which would make them pushing up 2 points slower. If you don't push up, they can just walk forward for free. They don't have to worry about getting shot at, losing their health or anything. But if you're shooting them, they can't just like walk on a straight line how they want to. So you kind of slow them down. You have 2 meters here. You could have bought some time, and it probably would have given you a cap here. But
The theory emerges from the chaos. Universe
It's high tide.
still got the cap.
We're going against the odds.
I think for that one, I don't think you heard the sound cue for him ulting, which is fine.
Not your finest hour.
You can time your shield to come out just as your suck's ending, but there is a second window that he can get you. Generally, you would throw your shield out before you did the suck, because it'll just block it. You don't have to waste time.
actuating the barrier.
Never die.
I wouldn't use my ult if I'm 1 HP with Sigma, especially because your healers are Mercy Moira. You're not really gonna have that like a burst healer like Baptiste or Ana, someone like that. You wouldn't get that burst healing. So whereas you were already 1 HP, anyone could just kind of shoot you down. The second you ult, you make yourself an even bigger target than you already are. So I mean, I'm sure you already could tell that ult was kind of bopped, but just try to keep like a mental tracker of that if you're gonna die, don't try to save yourself, just GG go next for the next fight, because if you have your ult next fight, you'd have your Sojourn ult coming up, your Mercy has Valk right now, and they wouldn't have much of anything. Ramattra is getting his ult BAP window. If you ult when BAP uses his window, he can't use it anyways because it's on the floor, he'd be in the sky. So in that situation, I would just say just work on your tracking, but that's fine.
10 seconds.
Right now, you don't have a lot of time. I'd probably swap to a stall character like Ball. That's a good character. Just try to get there. Your options here would be like ball, those types of people.
Team kill. Round one. Score 0-2. Switching sides. Initiating match. Ready to battle.
Stay close. I can't hear you if you stray.
Are you ever going to tell me Valkyrie's airfoil ratio?
Are you going to tell me Ingrid's apple pie recipe?
Ugh. You drive a hard bargain.
I'll just ask her myself.
I do not wish to be feared, but to be left alone.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Stop the payload.
Alright, since they're walking out with this, just a pre-tip. To deal with Sombra as a Sigma here, generally you'll hear it come out of invis. Just have your shield forward towards the enemies, and then just throw some shots back at her. If you hit her with 2 balls, she'll probably leave, because most Sombras, when they get to about half HP, they just translocate out. They don't like being not full HP, because there's not a character that has a whole lot of utility to sustain themselves other than just leaving the fight. So you just poke her out, get her to leave, and you do that till you can effectively kill her. Generally speaking, most squishy targets will die to a rock and 2 balls, or like your primary fire and a punch. It'll kill. But a good general tip is just shoot her and she'll leave.
Don't be too reckless.
I rock you with the right idea, just try to wait till you get around the corner, because anything you rock hits doesn't break on. That instance there, if you put your, I don't think her healing goes through shields, but if you put your shield in behind him in general, characters like Moira, Honor, or stuff like that, I think Kiriko won't be able to. I'm not too sure though. I haven't done enough research on that to verify. But they won't really be able to heal through the shield, so just try to, like, if a person's 1 HP, just throw your shield behind them so you can finish them off.
Actuating the barrier.
I will just say right now, their characters are Brig and Monkey, right? You're not really gonna do much to stop them with your shield. Kiriko you can, but she's not really just gonna be hard DPSing much ever. She might, but it's not gonna be like that much of a threat. You can sustain her, and most people can just take cover. Sombra, you're really not gonna be using your shield too much on. You can to kind of stop the hack if you want, but I would generally be trying to use it to block Cassidy right now, just the whole time. That's probably the play I'd go for, just block him the whole time. He's going to be the most potent damage dealer that you can actually block with your shield. So right now he has an ult and you just casted your shield towards the Sombra. that isn't shooting in your direction. Generally speaking, right now, Cassidy is the only like real viable one here. So.
Collapsing the barrier. Draw. Reach for the star.
This is a good way to negate his ult, pressure him, kill him, over. I wouldn't chase this just because you kind of leave your team with nothing. Yeah, and you push past your supports who can't help you because you're too far gone. So even though you got her low and she would have died, and she did die because you pushed her, you can also just kill her when she comes back. But you don't have to, you really shouldn't leave your team there. Unless you like tell someone to push in with you, you really shouldn't leave your team there. You've already done enough to basically remove her from the fight. Now as D.Va, you really want to be pressuring their DPS and their hit scan. Just try to get in their face, push them back, make them use their abilities, and then come back to your team. You have a defense matrix that's really good for just like eating anything, so just try to like force abilities. So just like get in people's faces, force out Cass's little magnetic grenade. You dive Reaper just like that, you force his Wraith out. So just keep trying to force abilities so that they don't have them. Yeah, I would just leave after that. There's no point shooting the Reaper after that. When you get his Wraith form out, you're basically good. Also, right there, you had a with the Reaper and Kiriko so close to your team there. You were at it was a 5v2 there. I'd be worried more about, since this next fight here is gonna be the last fight, making sure that they didn't get like a cheeky kill. So I'd definitely, instead of shoot them, I would be more worried about putting a defense matrix over whichever one you could get closer to. Generally Reaper, but if you can't get to him, at bare minimum Kiriko. So just try to block them, make sure they can't do damage. Your team's fine here, so it's fine, but just future reference. Your team will be able to kill them just fine, so just making sure that they can't get a kill, just make sure that your team is sustained. That was a good stagger. Generally speaking, I'm pretty sure this game's a wrap at this point. That bomb I would have just kept on moving, honestly. But generally speaking, congrats on the dub. But that was just a few pointers I can throw out there. Good help.